Hello, my name is Bella, and welcome to the 100 Acre Wool Knitting Podcast, where I talk to you about all the things I've been making recently, usually knitting, sewing, or fiber arts related. And this week I have a lot of knitting to show you guys, some updates on projects that I've already been working on that I've shown you on the podcast, and a cute little new project that I'm working on. So let's get started. If you would like to follow me elsewhere, I am also on Instagram and Ravelry at 100 Acre Wool. And as always, links to everything that I talk about today will be in the description below, as well as timestamps to all of my projects. So first, a little reminder, we have a KAL going on, a knit along going on right now. I am co-hosting a knit along with Gabriella of the MerryWeather Knitting Podcast and Zofia of the Birthday Creations Podcast. We are co-hosting a KAL together. It is called the Tudor Roses KAL. And if you are not familiar with what Tudor Roses is, besides the Tudor era in history, the Tudor Roses is a book by Alice Starmore. It is a knitting book, and it includes a lot of really beautiful projects, knitting patterns that Alice Starmore designed, as well as her daughter Jade Starmore, and they are all inspired by women of the Tudor era. It is basically what the queens would have worn back then in the royalty of the Tudor era. It is such beautiful, beautiful garments that are in this book. I'll put some pictures here of examples of the garments that you can create. It's just beautiful, beautiful. So if you would like to make some of these, or one of them or whatever, we are hosting this KAL the entire year long of 2021. So it's not too late to join. I'm going to be getting started on my first Alice Starmore project pretty soon, so I'm really excited about that. So I think I'll talk to you guys first about what I'm wearing. If you have been following the podcast, this might look familiar to you. This is a work in progress. I am not finished with it, thus the curly arms right here. But this is a sweater that I'm working on for my mom. I'm knitting it for my mother. And I thought I would wear it on the podcast today to show you guys how it's actually looking being worn. I've been showing you guys a lot and just holding it up, but it's turning into an actual garment now, so I thought I could put it on and show you guys the progress that I've been making. So for the people who are not aware, I'm working this top down, knitting it top down. So I started at the edge here, worked down. It's a raglan construction, and I am doing some cables in the raglan increases, and I have split for the arms and then been working the body. This is not a knitting pattern. I'm actually designing this pattern, and I will be having it soon released at some point whenever I finish the design. I'm still working on this. This is the original, but I'm going to have to get test knitters and so on, so not sure when it's going to be published, but yeah, designing this as I knit it. So I'll show you what it's looking like further down. So I added waist shaping, and I'll just say my mom is a little bit bigger than me. I'm designing this to have a slight amount of negative ease, so it'll be quite fitted. Not super tight, but quite fitted. So this is a little bit bigger on me than it will be on her. Then, you know, like this wouldn't be my size. If I were to knit this for myself, I would probably knit a smaller size. So it looks a little bit baggier on me than what it's supposed to look like. Hopefully that makes sense. So I'll stand up and show you guys how it's fitting me so far. So yes, like I said, there's waist shaping, so there's decreasing on the edges here. And then this week I did more of the bottom hem stuff. Hopefully you can see this. I'm going to try to stand up really tall to show you guys. So I am not done with this right now, but there are cables at the hem here. So I think there's going to be about this much more of the cables at the bottom, but hopefully you can see what they're looking like. There's the little ones that kind of match what the top looks like here, and then there's bigger ones, and it's kind of going to be increasing outwards towards the the hips sort of an area, because we decreased for the waist. I decrease in for the waist, and then I am now increasing out towards the hips. So I'm kind of working that in with the cables. And I'll put an image here because I want to sit down to talk to you guys about this. So I'll put an image here of what it's looking like so you can see and understand what I'm talking about. So I like how it's coming along so far as what I've been working on this week, which is the bottom cables section, kind of where the hem is going to be. I like how it's coming out, but I might want to change it a bit. I showed it to my mom, which this is going to be hers, so she has, 100% say on how this version is going to come out, how this, particular example is going to be knit up. But for the actual pattern, I think I might want to change it a little bit. So I showed her what this is looking like so far. She says she loves it. She wants it, exactly like this. Keep going on it. But I'm thinking the cables might not be turning out how I envisioned at the bottom portion. Right now I'm working the increases in between the cables, not in the cables themselves, which I think I might want to adjust that. I think I might want to switch that and make the cables increase, the cables get wider as it goes down instead of the spaces between the cables. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't have a visual to show you guys like what the difference would be. But if I end up changing it, then obviously you'll see what it looks like instead of doing it this way. I'm not getting as many cables in this section as I wanted there to be because there's so much space between them. So I don't know. I might change it, might rip back and change it. But if my mom wants this one to be this way, then I'll just change my pattern and change my version to the way that I want it to look. And then, go from there. Let me know what you think so far about how the bottom hem is coming out, the bottom hem section is coming out on this version. I would love to know what you guys think. If you think that the cables should be increasing, if the cables themselves should get bigger, or if you like this way where the space in between is getting bigger. I would love to know what your opinion is on this. But yeah, like I said, I think I'm going to change it for at least my version. When I write up the pattern for this, and I'm writing what I'm doing as I knit, but once I actually write up the, full version of the pattern, all, understandable and not my crazy jotted notes, once I have that, then I'm going to get test knitters, and I'm also going to make myself a version of this in my own size because I really, really want one for myself. It's just so cozy and soft, and I really, really love it. So yeah, it's just so cozy and fluffy and really, really comfortable to wear. It's made out of alpaca and mohair silk, kid silk mohair. That's the 2 yarns that I'm using. I am holding 2 yarns double, or at the same time, holding 2 yarns together while I knit. So it gives this really nice halo effect to the whole garment, to the fabric that I'm making. And I really, really love it. It's very soft, and it kind of feels like a cloud. And I also really like how it gives this kind of marled effect. I'm not sure if it's going to come up on camera, but maybe I'll get a closer up photo of what the fabric looks like. Because since I'm holding it double, it looks like kind of, the two-tone colors. So I'm using one gray colored yarn and one blue colored yarn. So that's what I mean. It kind of looks marled. So these are the yarns that I'm using. So this is the alpaca, the gray, and then the blue is the mohair. So I think when they come together, they kind of produce a marled effect here. So I really, really like that. And if it's looking kind of strange to you right now, if this garment isn't looking, perfectly, perfect right now, it's because I haven't blocked it yet. So if it's looking a little puckery in some places, that's probably why. But that'll all get sorted out. When it blocks, it makes it perfectly finished, and I love blocking. Blocking is like magic. So yeah, this still needs to be blocked. That's why it might look a little bit weird. So this coming week, I think I'll continue knitting on the bottom portion towards the hem. And also probably pick up the arm stitches, because I really want to see how these are working up as well. Yeah, these have just been held on some scrap yarn for quite a while, so I want to see how those are working up too. So I think that's all I'll say for this one for today. let me get into the next project I've been working on this week. So the next project I've made some progress on this week is a test knit that I'm doing for Taylor Owen. She is a knitting podcaster on YouTube as well. If you're not aware of her, I will link her down below. Go check out her podcast. She does a lot of really beautiful things, and I really love her podcast. But she's coming out with a cardigan pattern soon, and I saw her talking about it on her podcast, and it was just so beautiful. I have so many projects that I'm working on already, and so many things that I still have to make that I've planned for people, but I just saw this and I thought it was so beautiful, so I had to cast it on and test knit it for her. So I'm working on that, and this is what it's looking like so far. So I cast this on last week, so this is 2 weeks of progress. But I've been working on other stuff too, so if I was only working on this, I'd probably have a lot more done. But yeah, I think I've made a good amount of progress this week. So it's a cable knit sweater, and it is knit in the round, so it's a cardigan. It's not a sweater, sorry. It's a cardigan, and I'm knitting it in the round according to the pattern. So this is the front section here, and basically how it's going to go is Taylor adds this tab here that you knit, which will actually be steeked open. So once this is all finished, once I work up, the full height of the pattern, height of the cardigan, then I will cut it here and steek it open. And then she has you finish it off with a ribbed button band, and you put buttons on it. So really cute button band. I'm excited to work on that. So yes, this is going to be steeked open, which this will probably be my first steeked project, because I'm working on the yell, but which is also steeked, but I'm definitely going to have this finished before I finish the yell. So, oh my gosh, this is going to be my first steeked project. I think that's okay, because this doesn't have color work. I think when there's more strands, and I think the color work steeking is a little more scary to me. But anyways, this will be my first steeked project. So you might notice on the front here, I have some scrap yarn going on. So what these are is actually pockets, which I also really loved about the pattern, is that it has pockets in the front. I thought that was so cool. And the way that Taylor did this in the pattern was so ingenious, I think. I've never knit pockets in a garment. I think I've only made one garment. I don't know. I don't think I've made very many garments up till now. I've kind of gotten on a garment craze recently. But anyways, so yeah, this has pockets in it right in the front. So she kind of has you knit like a tab. I'm not really sure how to explain it. Kind of like the lining of the pocket, and then you add it on, and it looks very seamless. So I really love how she did that. And then basically what's going to happen with these live stitches here is you pick it up and then do a little finishing rib, I think. So I think those are going to be really cute, really nice. So let me show you the back, which is kind of the pièce de résistance. Kind of the prettiest part in my opinion. So hopefully you can see this. And it's really coming alive now. Can you see that? Oh my gosh, it's so cool. So this is called the cardigan. This is called the Owen cardigan, which is based off of Taylor's own Owen cable design, which she also has included in her bralette and maybe another project or so. I'm not sure, but the Owen cable design is her own design, and I think it's cool that she's bringing it into another design of hers. It kind of connects them together, so I thought that was cool. So yes, this is the Owen design here. So this is going to be, this panel of cables is going to be worked all the way up the center back, all the way to the top, and it's just so beautiful. Maybe I'll put a picture here of what hers looks like, what it's going to look like in the end. I think it's so cool. So this is really fun to work. She has it charted in the pattern, the cable crosses and everything, and it's really easy to follow. She has it, perfectly laid out, and there's no problems with it. So that's really awesome. And I think this pattern is quite simple, depending on, how experienced of a knitter you are. But even if you've only done a little bit of cabling, This might look kind of complicated, but I think even if you've only done a little bit of cabling, you could definitely, tackle this project and take it on, because it's really, really fun, and the pattern is just, really clear in my opinion. And also the yarn that I'm using, the yarn that's used is a worsted weight, which also makes it go a lot faster, the whole project. So I'm using Harrisville Designs Highland yarn. It is a very rustic, and it's not scratchy, but it's got that like woolly woolen spun. It's woolen spun. It's got that really rustic feel, kind of similar to maybe Jameson Smith, Jamesons of Shetland, that sort of a yarn, I think. But it's worsted weight, so it's a lot thicker. But I really, really like it. And it's really interesting how it's working up. When you don't have it blocked, when you're just knitting right off the skein, or you cake it up into a yarn cake and then you're knitting off of that, it kind of feels crunchy, or like, I don't know if crunchy is the best word. It's not soft, it's kind of tense. Hopefully that makes sense. But once you block it, it really softens up and smooths out and fills in all the gaps, and it's really, really nice. So it's kind of funny here. I have this half blocked and half not. So hopefully you can see at the bottom here, this kind of, I think from here down, this is blocked, which I did last week. All the stuff that I did last week, I blocked last week, so that I could open up the rib and show you guys the details. But yeah, so the bottom half is blocked, and then the top half is not. So I'm getting to feel the difference in the fabric, and it's really, really cool, like how much it actually changes. And then it also looks kind of funny. It looks like I made a mistake or something, because where it is blocked and where it's not, the yarn has, relaxed and not stretched, but relaxed. Like the stitches like bloom and get a tiny bit bigger. So you can definitely see there's like a line where it's blocked and then where it's not. There's like a demarcation line, but I'm guessing that'll come out when I block the whole thing, because then it will be, completely blocked instead of partially and then not. I don't think that'll be a bad thing. But yeah, and then it's also kind of cool how the cables look very different. So up here, these ones are not blocked, the ones that I worked on this week. So like this half has not been blocked. So hopefully you can see they're a lot puffier. I don't know if you can tell in this, but in person they're a lot puffier and like scrunchier. They have more volume maybe, once you've just knitted them and you haven't blocked them yet. And then once you block it, the yarn like softens up so much that it really like smooths things. I'm saying it smooths a lot. Blocking just smooths everything. But yeah, it gives like a much more subtle look, and the cables aren't as like poofy and like popping out. Hopefully that makes sense, which I actually prefer. I prefer it, more of a smooth consistency. Do I have any other words besides smooth? Anyways, yeah, so this has been, again, really, really fun to work on this week. It's quite a relaxing project, just because it feels like I'm making so much progress in such a short amount of time. But yeah, so I really like how this is working out. I'm making the small size, I think it's the 36, which I'm actually a size smaller than that, but I really like cardigans to be a tiny bit big, or big. I say the bigger the better with cardigans, or maybe not the bigger the better, but I don't want my cardigans to be tight, if that makes sense. That's what I mean. So yeah, I'm really, really happy I'm making this size. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say for this one this week. Okay, so I cast on another project this week, started something new, but this is actually something that my grandma commissioned from me. So I feel like I'm making progress on things that I need to do. So this is a smaller project, which is why I cast it on this week. I wanted a smaller project that I could take around easier and, not have to lug around an entire garment and garment's worth of yarn. So what it is some mittens or gloves. I'm not actually sure if she wants them to be mittens or gloves yet, but I'm just knitting until I have to decide whether they're going to be mittens or gloves. But yeah, so they're going to be one or the other. And this is a pattern that I sort of made myself. Backstory is I gave my grandma a hat for Christmas. It was a pattern that I made myself, but also sort of not. I was looking on the Alice Starmore website. You probably know I love Alice Starmore so much by now. But I was looking on her website, and my grandma really wanted a hat for Christmas. And I was looking for hats on her website because I thought that Alice Starmore would also be my grandma's style as well. So I was looking on there for inspiration, maybe to actually make, order one of her yarn kits, Alice Starmore's yarn kits, and make one of those. And I found the Merveille du Jour hat and poncho set, but I didn't want to order that because the hat and the poncho is a set. Like, you have to order the yarn for both of them. You can't just order the yarn for the hat or the poncho. And then also the pattern for it has to be purchased with the whole set. Like, she doesn't sell the pattern on its own. So I was kind of disappointed about that. So I just decided to kind of make up a pattern going off of the images of the hat just on their website. Just kind of made my own version of the pattern. Very, very similar design. I actually tried to make it as spot on as possible. So I'm not going to be making this into a pattern anytime soon. Same with the hat, because I feel like that would be stealing Alice Starmore's work. But just for me, for my grandma, I made her a hat very heavily inspired by that hat. And so I gave it to her for Christmas, and she really, really loved it. She asked me and commissioned me to create her a pair of mittens or gloves. Not sure which one it's going to be yet, but she commissioned me to make them to match the hat. So I made a little pattern that is basically the same pattern as the hat, and I just put it into a smaller form, into mittens or gloves. So this is how it's coming along so far. I cast this on this week, and yeah, it's basically the same pattern as the hat. It's just, shrunk down because it's a smaller piece. So I'll show you what it's looking like on right now. And this is being worked with Drops alpaca yarn. I'm going to use 8 different colors in the final pattern, or the final piece uses 8 different colors. So that's really fun. It's a lot of color work, which I love. So this is what it's looking like so far. I think this is about where it will be, like where it'll land on the cuff. Yeah, I think so. But I really, really love how it's coming out so far. It's really soft because the alpaca, the yarn is really, really soft. I love alpaca, like how it's rustic and, fully natural, but it's not as scratchy as wool. I really, really love that. Like, thank you, alpaca, for being so soft and lovely. There's definitely a place for wool. I love Shetland wool and that too, obviously. Anyways, let's get back to this. So I really like how it's coming out. It is completely color work, so as I keep working up this way, it's gonna be completely color work. I'll insert a picture of the hat here, just so you can see how they connect, how it's the same pattern as the hat and how they'll go together. So it's got some ribbing here at the bottom. Hopefully you can see that. I'll probably also insert a closer-up photo of this so you can see it in more detail. But yeah, it's got some ribbing at the bottom here, and then I just started working in the color work. And I am using my Chiaogu interchangeables in a size US 1, which is 2.25 millimeter needles. I really love knitting mittens and gloves in such small little needles because I get them to fit really nicely. My grandma has the same size hands as I do, so I know it'll fit her as well too. So yeah, these have been super quick to make because they're so small probably. So they're working up really fast, which I really like. For color work, that is. I mean, color work can only go so fast because you have to pay attention to the pattern nonstop. But yeah, I really, really like how it's coming out. Let me show you the yarns that I'm using. So these are all of the colors of yarns that I'm using. Here's the 8 colors that I'm going to be using. And these are actually the same balls that I bought for my for my grandma's hat, for the hat that matches this, that she's commissioning me to make these for. I used the same balls for the hat. And it used up such little yarn. Like, I was so surprised. I think I had like 3/4 of each of these left after I made the hat. These are each 50 grams, I believe, and I think I had, you know, like 3/4 of it left, so I could make 3 other hats and still have yarn or something like that. So I was really surprised how little yarn it used up. But I guess it is because it's 8 colors. I mean, when you do the math, it's still a normal amount of yarn for a hat. But anyways, yeah, I really, really love this yarn. This is the same alpaca that I'm using for this sweater. The sweater I'm wearing, that's for my mom. This is the same yarn, and I really, really love it. They have so many different color choices on their website, and it's just so beautiful. It's soft and can't ask for anything better. Yeah, so really love this yarn. And I think these mittens will be a really fun project for me to work on when I don't want to tackle the garments that I'm working on. This will be a really, really fun small thing that I can do. And I think it'll be done pretty quickly since they're so small. It's only taken me a couple hours to do this, and you know, you just make 2 of them and then you're finished. And so I think these will be done pretty soon for her, which I'm really excited about that. And I think that's all I'll say about these ones for today. That is the last of my projects that I have to show you guys this week. I forgot to say this at the beginning. I hope you had a great Valentine's Day. I'm filming this the day after Valentine's Day. I hope you guys had a really wonderful day, whether you were with your family or a loved one, your partner, your friends, nobody, whether it was a, you know, virtual kind of a hangout situation. Whatever the situation, I hope you had a great day. And that is all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. And if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And I will see you guys next week. Thank you so, so much for watching. Bye-bye.